Okay, thank you, Brendan. And I'll also tell a little bit more about myself, I mean, even my background, because that might give you some idea why I have been talking about this type of topics and maybe some models for your own education. So I actually did my first kind of 2 degrees in economics and engineering, and I still felt that, I mean, it wasn't really something that I wanted to do in the 70s, so I'm already an old man. And I went then from the kind of economics and engineering to the Helsinki University and started studying applied psychology and clinical psychology. So that time many people were asking, I mean, how the heck can you combine clinical psychology into the area of economics and engineering? And I mean, I didn't have any reason. It was just my kind of own curiosity, and of course it took me more years to finalize my both master's degrees, and I didn't know what to start doing, and I actually did. I was practicing even first in my career clinical psychology. I mean, among the kind of teenagers with tendencies of suicide. That's a big problem in Finland. But since my background was also in the business, so I was quickly called to become a consultant and kind of an engineering consultant, and that kind of took me out of the kind of clinical side of the business, and ever since I've been basically working for the business. First 10 years I was working for a multinational engineering company. We were putting up pulp and paper mills and energy plants all around the world, in Africa, in Southeast Asia, and I was traveling quite a lot, and then I was that time bachelor. I felt that, I mean, I need to go back to Finland to get married and get a family. So I returned back to Finland and got married, and then I wanted to live a more steady life, and since I had been all around working in different organizations in Asia and Africa and Europe, I was called to work for the United Nations Secretariat at New York, and I accepted the offer because I was thinking maybe that's more steady job and I don't have to anymore travel with my 2 small daughters. And we stayed 6 years in New York, and I was there working primarily for the United Nations Secretariat HR services. So we were looking kind of the whole UN structure as making it more transparent and efficient. So, but that took me again on the road, because again I had to travel a lot, and because the UN organization is spread all over the world. So that was 1995, and then our family decided that we didn't want to become Americans, so we decided to go back to the kind of engineering business to London, and then some headhunters contacted me and said that there's this company, kind of a Nokia corporation in Finland, which is growing like hell. And I was that time 34, and I was thinking I'm already too old for the ICT business, because I knew that Nokia was full of, I mean, kind of 25 and so guys, but to my astonishment, of course, I did have a contribution to Nokia. So after that, I've been working for Nokia 15 years in different roles, and the last 5 years I've been working on this open user-driven innovation, where we have been looking kind of public funding to create environments for open innovation. So environments where we try to get the users, the citizen, innovate, and then the big companies and public sector providing a kind of a platform for that type of operations. Ever after, I've added many responsible hats. This is one which I just concluded. We were with my family living in Holland. You might recognize this guy. He looks like a Harry Potter, but he's not Harry Potter. He's the longest lasting Prime Minister of Holland, Mr. Balkenende. And some 2 years ago I was talking, I mean, similar event, I was talking about open user-driven innovation in Amsterdam in a conference, and some of his staff were listening there, and soon when I went back to Helsinki, they called me, and if I could come to Amsterdam and start working for the Prime Minister's office, leading their initiative on national strategy of user-driven open innovation. I asked Nokia, I said to Nokia that I'm anyway traveling a lot to Brussels, and Amsterdam is so close to Brussels, so Nokia allowed me to have my office at the Nokia Amsterdam office, so it was very close to the Prime Minister's office, and we started working towards the kind of Dutch strategy for user-driven open innovation, which we then created a seven different locations of open innovation, and we created a kind of a network for this type of living labs. This is one of the products that we've been working through the community of living labs. It's an interoperability cube, meaning that, or showing how complex it is to create interoperability, not only technical interoperability, but human interoperability, cross-border interoperability. So it's a very interesting concept. So I'm handing over here to the Prime Minister the interoperability cube, and then a book that we co-edited with my friend on Living Labs, which I think Brendan will be taking copies for you. And during my later visits, then, if you guys are interested on this user-driven open innovation, we could go more deeply into that area. Okay, then more into the topics, and please interrupt me anytime. I mean, I don't get confused. I don't have a kind of a well-prepared lecture. I have 49 slides. We don't have to finish them. We can stay in one slide if you have any questions. It's always better to be interactive. Anything that comes into your mind, because user-driven open innovation, I'm sure, I mean, you've seen it in your everyday life, and I think it is important that we identify ourselves to it, and some of the slides might be a bit technical, some of the slides might be a little bit kind of conceptual, but try to bring them somehow relate to your own life. The main themes that kind of drive this type of open-driven, user-driven innovation is really the core of it is internet. So internet providing a platform, a very low threshold platform for people to connect. Not only connect, but share and start utilizing common resources. I mean, and those resources are the Facebooks and those sites and shareware that you are currently using. So that is really the kind of basics, because the user-driven open innovation has become so big. For some of you it's something very natural, but I mean, again, for us who are like 50 plus, I mean, we didn't have that even 10, 15 years ago. So really the penetration of internet, allowing the access to people, to resources, is really the driver. Then of course the issue of openness. And the openness is not opened by the big corporations, it's really the openness of the open communities requiring, demanding access to tools, knowledge, and seeing the value of sharing without paying. So that's something also which then creates this possibility. Of course there are technology elements, technology is progressing, we are getting more and more efficient technologies which then more create the capabilities of this type of open collaboration, open innovation, cross the borders, cross the continents. And then of course a lot of interesting industries then providing those service platforms, Nokia being one, Apple being one, many companies providing such platforms for open collaboration. But Living Labs is a different type of an animal. Some 7 years ago, I was a research director at Nokia, and we had a problem that Nokia was growing some 150,000 people all around the world. We had 29 research and development sites all over the world. So we were looking what kind of a collaborative platform can we create in order to get the maximum efficiencies of people working together, 7/24 cycles, so that we can bring our services and products quicker to the market. So how can we virtualize innovation? And we went around the world, where is the best research for it? And we ended up in MIT, no surprise, there was an Australian